we try to about the conditions of Romas in different parts of the world, the challenges which they face, and the opportunities which they have in different countries. As we are all aware about their Indian origin, so it is also good to know through these lectures about Indian influence in their and their language and things like that. I'm really sorry that on people to hold this event last week, but somehow because of unexpected circumstances, we had to postpone it to today. And I see our speaker is already there. So today's lecture is on Roma in Hungary, historical, cultural, and contemporary challenges. As you all know that Romas migrated from India almost 1,000 years or maybe more than that. And they have settled in all the world, mostly in Europe. And they have retained certain cultural aspects which they carried from India. And they have enriched those with the culture, language which they picked up from the countries where they are residing. We in our this series of lecture have already covered Romania, we have covered Turkey, we have covered Bulgaria, we have Americas, Argentina, and today's Hungary. And as many of you will be aware, that in Hungary there is a large percentage of Romas in their population. Though official the number is stated to be somewhere between 3.2 to 3.5% of the population, but I do see that there is a belief that it could be as high as 10% of the population. So today's speaker will let us know about their historical movement as well as the cultural and contemporary challenges. So before starting, let me see whether Jamir, is Shamji there? Jamir?
Shyamji has not joined yet. Maybe means he will join later. So we will start the conference. Then Shyamji will come and he will deliver the winding of the speech or concluding remarks. Shyamji will deliver. So
okay. So
I will
once again welcome to and now I'll hand over the floor to Jamir, who will introduce the today's speaker, who is Miss Andrea Anna Maria Duca. She is homologist, director of Future Vision, Educational and Diversity of Cultural Association and International Network, Roma Cultural Guide and Teacher. So Jamir, the floor is yours. You will introduce our speakers today.
Thank you very much, sir. And I extend the very warm welcome for joining this virtual lecture. And today actually this lecture was scheduled on 26th of August, but due to some emergency situation that the lecture was postponed. So I, on behalf of Center for Roma Studies and Cultural Relations, extend the apology, and we have rescheduled this lecture today. And today we have this speaker that is Andrea Anna Maria Duca. She is a Romologist, and as the Sadeva sir mentioned, the theme of the today lecture, that is a Roma in Hungary, especially in the context of history, culture, and the contemporary challenges. So Ms. Duca, she is a Romologist, and she is the Roma cultural guide and the teacher as well. And she got the professional traineeship in the European Parliament, in Brussels and Belgium, She holds a degree of Romology, interdisciplinary specialization in culture, history, language, art, literature, education, law, the minority education, sociology, and anthropology. She has the broadest spectrum of experience and knowledge about the Roma people across the world, but she has a specialization in um, the pedagogy, especially she teaches the Romani students. So we are very much excited to listen to her, and she will give us and the shines the light on this particular topic, which is a very important, and we love to hear this the creative mind and the new ideas. And I believe and I hope that she will cover the broader spectrum of the uh, of this topic. So as we know that, and the sir has given the bird's eye view about the situation of Roma in Hungary. Obviously, Roma in Hungary has been living since the 14th century. The first, the municipal accounts depicts that the Roma sporadically came to Hungary in 1316. So I don't want to speak more about that, but we all know that the Roma in Hungary have been facing the disadvantages and the marginalization since long time. And they are traditionally most disadvantaged Hungarian social group. Even though they constitute about the 10% and 9% of the total population of Hungary. So, but the human index is still is a very poor, and all the human index indicators, the Roma lag behind. And so we will that is so that so I now without making any delays, I request today's speaker, Ms. Duka, and to deliver the special lecture on the theme of Roma in Hungary and historical, cultural, and the contemporary challenges. So, Ms. Duka, the floor is yours, and uh, we are going to be benefited from your speech. Thank you very much. So, Ms. Duka, floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So you introduced me, so I don't need to say too much more about me. But first, I would like to say sorry for my English. My English is not so perfect, but I will try to do my best. And but I would like to change something a bit because in Hungary, we have two different studies. Somebody can go to be Romologist professionals, but my diploma, it's like, how do you say in English? It's like nationalities of Roma teacher. It means that I could be a general teacher who can teach everything for the children, and I can be also a teacher who can teach almost everything about the Roma. So what it's connecting to Roma, I can teach. And this is a bit another things like Romologistic studies. I don't know that you understand this or not. Or everyone is, okay. Okay, I don't know what is the rules during the meeting. That everyone can say something when they want, or
no, Ms. Duka, you can deliver your lecture. Then after we have the question and answer session. So those who have the question, they can put forth their questions, and you have to answer the questions.
Okay, then I understand. Then I will.
But that will be
Sorry?
No, I'm saying the question and comments will be after your lecture.
Okay. Thank you. So when we talked with Zamir about what I can say to you about Roma in Hungary, I mean a situation in Roma in Hungary, I said to him that I can speak a lot about them. And now my lecture will going like, I would like to speak a bit about the general history, but in really short states. So I just collect some really important main problems from the history, and after I will going to speak about nowadays situations, and after I think it's better if we will going to talk about the questions, if it's good.
Yeah, it is okay. And I request you to put on your camera.
Oh, okay then. But if I'm going to put my camera, my internet will be slower. So I don't know that it will be strong or not.
That's okay.
So then I tried really collect the short history. I mean that I would like to start from the beginner when the first group arrived to Hungary. It was around in the 50th century. That was the first group, because when we are talking about the Roma in Hungary, we need to say the first, second, and third group. You will understand during the lecture why. So the first group arrived around in the 50th century, when was the society, so the main society was really acceptable for the Roma, because the Turkish was here in Hungary. I mean, it was a war between Hungarian and Turkish. And the Roma who arrived to Hungary, they had a really cool professional, but during the war, the Hungarians could use. I mean, the professional was everything what was connecting to metal, and they could use in the war. So in the first time, for the first some years, they were acceptable. And after, when the Turkish went from Hungary because they lost the war, the main society started to regular the Roma community, who were in this time still moved from the whole country. But after, when the Turkish went from the country, the Hungarian government started to regular the Roma people who was until that time acceptable. And first, if we are jumping in the time, we need to jumping in the time, because I really need to think about that, what is really important. So after the Turkish, in the first regulation, if we are jumping the second regulation, it was the feudalism. In Hungary, in the feudalism, they had a lot of love for started to stop them everything. It's like, for example, they needed to go to the field to learn how to work in a field, have to work with animals. They must have to stop to make business with horse, They must have to learn Hungarian language and etc. And they started to learn because they must have to be in a one place. So they must have to left the caravans and they must have to go in the normal house. And they started to live with non-Roma people in the same place, without caravan, without horses, without metal jobs. So they must have to do everything in the field. And the next regulation, I just call it the regulation because I think is the most important if we want to go to speak later more about the cultural conflict problems. So the next regulation and was the strongest is the assimilation law from Maria Theresia. Maria Theresia was the head of the Austrian and Hungarian monarchy, and she wanted to make a assimilation for the Hungarian also and the Roma also. But the Hungarians says that they will not speak in German, they will not using German clothes, and they don't want to do nothing what is close to German culture. So they want to be Hungarian. And they fight a lot for this. But because of the Roma was interior level in the society, so it was easy to regulate them because everyone wanted to regulate them again. So again started the assimilation process. And I don't know how much do you know about this kind of laws, but I collect some more. I think the most important was to lose everything that the family who has children, they must to left to the non-Roma families who were upper than 6 old. And the other was the communication stopped. It means that they couldn't speak more about their language. They must have to lose the language and they must have to use the Hungarian language. And it was the biggest problem if I'm thinking now in the first group. And the third law was that the Roma man and woman couldn't marry each other. So the law was, sorry? So the law was like they must have to mix it with the main society. So that was the so that was the three really important assimilation laws. And why it is so important? Because if we are talking about the Roma, we need to say in Hungary that we are in 3 groups. So in Hungary, we have 3 groups. The first group who came to Hungary, it was the Romuro group. And every kind of biggest assimilation law was for the Romuro group, who already lost their language, who already lost their main culture, heritage, and etc. So that was, if I can say, it will be not so nice, but it was the success assimilation program in Hungary if we are talking about the Roma integration. I know that it's really sad, but from this time, nobody did the same things, thanks to God. So, and the second group was from Romania. They were a batch, and they also came around the 90th centuries when the slaves stopped. And they are also Roma, but their language is not Roma. I mean, in Hungary is not Roma. They speak the old Romanian language, but of course they have also the Romani background. If we are talking about the culture or any kind of heritage. And the third group arrived almost in the same times. They are the Vlach Roma. I mean, we say in Hungary that they are Olah Roma, and they speak Romanes. They have a lot of dialects in Hungary because they are in the main group. We say Olah, but inside the group, they have a lot of another kind of groups. And usually the definitions, I mean, the identification of the definition, it's all the time depends what is the professionals. So, and they are around 15 different groups, and they have like 7 and 8 different dialects, but it's some like the same as a main Olah dialects. So, and I'm thinking about that I need to jump again or not, but I was staying in the 19th and 20th centuries because in Hungary it's a really focusing for Roma. It's a time when they were really focused. So it was the challenges for the May society that they had already Roma group in Hungary who are already regulated, assimilated. Almost them, I mean, most of them, they are already regulated. We can say also that they integrated, but I think it could be another topic, what mean exactly the integration. But we can say now in that lecture that it was already an integration, but it's equal like an assimilation. But when the another two groups are arrived, the main society again started to be really angry, and the politician also, I mean, again, they not accepted the Roma groups who arrived. And they also started to regulate because these two groups was still moving groups. So they had caravans, they had horses, they just went to village to village and cities to cities, and they were work a bit here, they work a bit there, and they had a lot of business. But in the same times, the Hungarian couldn't accept them, and they were so so another, like the usually Hungarian, I mean the general Hungarian people and the already regulated Roma. And they had a lot of problems with the government. They had a lot of problems in the cities and the village because they were amateur. And their lifestyles was really different. And they couldn't accept this. So again, what's happened? It's easy. The politician and the government started to use a new assimilation laws for the new Roma groups. But the problem was that they cannot count, or they were not thinking about that they new groups. There was like, we have again Roma people, we have again problem, we need to regulate again. So they had in the 20th centuries, I mean a beginning of the 20th centuries, Hungarian government made a lot of assimilation rules and laws. And there were a lot of horrible laws, what means that if somebody doesn't like the Roma groups, they can go to the police, they said something, and the Roma were in the police. And a lot of Roma are died because of this. And if we are going to the Second World War, that was another sad moment, but it's for a lot of people are know what's happened in the Second World War. In Hungary, we also had a lot of Roma who went to the died camps and work camps, and they died there. So we also making the commemoration for them. So the Hungarian ministry, I think I can say as a teacher and as a Roma woman that the Hungarian ministry are not saved their Roma people. They sent them, and they were friendly with this. Okay, after this sad situation, I mean, after the Second World War, was the industrial and economical growth change in the Roma lives also, because the Roma has a new life. I mean, already they can start to work, and they must to work. So in Hungary, everyone must to work before the political system changed. So everyone, I mean, from my father and from my relatives and everyone who is more older than me, everyone say all the time that before 20 years ago, in these years, everyone has a job. Everyone could to go to factory or somewhere else, but they must have to work. And of course, if we can go to work, we will have money, and they had also money. The housing was more better than now. They health was really better than now. And the most important, because I'm teacher and in the history, I'm all the time trying to looking for when we can say that something is changed in the Roma society. If we are talking about the educational, that was the time when the educational qualification also started to change, because the parents went to work, the children went to school, and that time was a lot of professionals from the Roma also, more than now. And when the political process changed, they lost again everything. So they lost their job, because their education qualification was not more than the professional level. They couldn't went the higher level. I mean, making a second, the gymnasium diploma, or they couldn't go to university, and and everything went again in a really bad way. And when everything is changed again, it was around 2000, because we had a really big integration program. What was the name of the program was Roma Decade. And this Roma Decade program was a complex integration program. So they wanted to focus into the parents. They wanted to focus to the children, especially for the students. And for 10 or a bit more, 10 years or a bit more, started to growing everything because they made a lot of job place for the Roma. They creating a lot of scholarship for Roma students who want to go to higher level than the normal primary school. And I think that was the biggest program until now. And now, nowadays, we had a lot of problem. I think in a world media, you heard us a lot of bad things. Because now in Hungary, okay, I will just talk about the Roma. So, so the first problem is that the deep poverty, because a lot of Roma lives in a deep poverty, and most of them, they don't have job. Most of them are so uneducated because of, we can say, because of the discrimination, what it's almost, we can meet this almost each of day, every day. And most of them couldn't go to learn to secondary school, or most of them cannot go to university or some other kind of college. And but I have also good news also, that in Hungary, from the 80s years, we had the first generation. I can say a lot of famous name like Ostoykan Béla, like Menyhért Lakatos, and etc. But the first generation did a lot of good things for the culture growing in Hungary. But I think as a third generation who are in this group, I think I can say that almost everything was just around the culture and around the political. And no one focused to the education. Because the first generation Roma in Hungary was from the artist groups, and maybe like 3 or 4 was from university. And now the third and the fourth generation who started to learn, I mean, to go to university and to make a secondary diploma, we already started, our number already started to grow. And from the society, we are still really small group from the Hungary. I mean, from the Hungarian group. If we're saying the Hungarian society, these two level, I mean, the secondary diploma and the university diploma are around almost 40%. Not exactly, it's just in almost. From the Roma group, I mean from the Roma community, this process around not more than 5%. And for the whole society, it's not more than 0.3. So it's really few. But if we are saying, I mean, if we are just focusing Roma, we can say proudly that it's really high. And we need to show the way to the younger. I don't know, what was this now? Okay. Then I was writing down also that if we are talking about Hungary, we need to I also need to show that how we talking in Hungary if we are saying something about the Roma. So the first that we need to make a definition for the Roma. And so the first definition for the identification is from the sociology. What it means that the Roma are, so if the surrounding society says that you are Roma because your life is like a Roma, you will be Roma. It doesn't matter that you will be not Roma, but if your skin a bit darker, or if you are living in a poorest house, or you are living in the poor street, you will be Roman. So, but this says the surrounding society. And then other definition for the identification who is Roma, it's our minority love. And it's a bit funny because we know that it's not true. So it says our minority love says that if you think that you are Roma, you will be Roma. If you don't want to be Roma, you will not be Roma. You can be everything what you want. But what is the funny? If I look like Roma and almost everything is connecting that I can be Roma, nobody will accepting that if I will say, sorry, I'm not Roma. I'm another kind of nationalities, but I'm speaking Hungarian. They will say, no, you are Roma because you look like Roma. So this is why I said that it's so funny, these two definition, because I can ask also, who is Roma? But I can tell the story when I'm going to out of the country. I have another definition also, because I'm from the Roma, a Rumungro group. My family already lost the languages. They don't speak any kind of Romanes dialects, so they don't speak Romanes. And in Hungary, the Roman groups spoke the Carpathy dialects, but we already not. And when I'm going out of the country and I meet with Roma, the first question all the time, that what is the first question? City Romney? And I all the time say that, yes, I am, but I don't speak Romanes. And they all the time laughing that how you can be Roman, how you can be Romney if you don't speak your language. And I'm all the time saying that sorry, it's not my mistake. It's from the history. We have history background. So this is the third definition when somebody has rule to say that I'm Roma or not Roma. So it's a really important question nowadays in Hungary, I think, especially in Hungary, because we have a lot of problem with racism, with discrimination. We have a lot of institutional segregation and everything what is connecting bad things to Roma. So usually I'm also ask my student that, what do you think? You are Roma or not Roma? Of course they are Roma. I know also that they are Roma because they also identify, so they also say themselves that they are Roma. And when I'm asked them that why you are Roma, say me, try to explain why you are Roma. And my students are from 6 to 15 years old students. So it's a really large group. And they are the new generation. And I'm so sad of them, so sad because of them. Because they cannot say nothing. They just saying that I'm Roma because my father and my mother Roma. But they cannot say nothing what it's connecting to culture. They not keeping their heritage, nothing. They don't speak Romanes. They don't want to go to university or something else. They want to be like just a normal people. But it would be nice, but they cannot. And I'm all the time thinking about that, what is good for them. If I'm starting to teach them that they are Roma and they must to learn how they can tolerate a lot of things what is coming from the main society, but it's connecting to discrimination, and they must to save themselves because of the racism. Or it's better to let them that they are not Roma, they are not non-Roma, they are each of them an individual person, and I just need to teach them that they must to believe themselves. Because if I can teach them that they can be everything what they want, and they can be, I don't know, they can be Roma as well, also Hungarian, and they can be two identification. I mean, they will be helped in a mental way. So it's a bit difficult, but it's the lucky that I can speaking with them about everything. We can speak about also the numbers, and official numbers, it's 318,000, and the non-Roma I mean the non-official numbers, but it's coming from the non-Roma, I mean from the surrounding society, it's around 600,000 and 800,000. Yeah, that was what I'm writing down for myself, that I really need to talk and important to talk about these things. And I think now it's better to make a floor for the questions.
Thank you very much, Miss Andrea, for a very interesting speech, wherein you had covered how Romas have come into Hungary in different phases, starting with Turkey and then from Romania and then from other places. Their changes which have happened in their assimilation and integration, different policies over the years. And what I could understand from your speech was basically that the golden period was after the World War, when they had the employment opportunities. They were treated at par, in a sense that in education, in housing, but things have deteriorated thereafter. And also it was interesting to learn that it is interesting to learn that the way the things are happening now, whether people would like to say as Roma or non-Roma. Very interesting. Now we open the floor for questions and answers. Let me see, anyone wants to comment or ask any question, you're most welcome.
I have raised
Yes,
my hand.
Punita ji.
Yeah. Hello, Anna.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I actually had two questions. One is about music and the other one is about Ambedkar. So I know they are very diverse topics. But on the music front, because I'm a musicologist and very often we encounter gypsy references in Western classical music, particularly in Hungary. And in fact, even Franz Liszt Ferenc wrote a whole music theory book in which he referenced Romani music quite a lot. So, yes. So, and also, I mean, even in contemporary Hungary, I know some groups like Kali Yag they've been knighted, and so they've received a lot of respect in the music scene, even though they suffer from discrimination in other areas. So that's one aspect, this paradox, where on the musical front, they're respected, and yet at a human level, they're not. So I wanted to ask you about that paradox. And the other thing is that lately I've heard that Ambedkar has had a big influence, and there's a Jai Bhim movement, and in fact, a couple of schools named after this Indian leader, this Indian Dalit leader, Ambedkar, I'm sure you know. So that was the other thing. So is that a movement which is gathering steam now in Hungary?
I didn't hear, sorry.
Sorry, what?
I didn't hear the last sentence because I heard some noise.
Okay,
But I
okay.
don't know what is this.
Okay. So the music thing was one issue. And then the other one is about Dr. Ambedkar, who's a very famous Indian leader fighting for against discrimination. And I believe that he's had quite a profound influence in Hungary. There are a few schools that are named after him. And this Jai Bhim movement is quite strong. So I was just wondering how that's working out now.
Okay, then I understand. Okay. So the musician Roma were almost, so if we are thinking the whole history, the musician Roma were all the time, you can say, in a higher level, more higher than the other groups. But they had also a lot of times for some years or with more than 10 years, if we are going in the periods, that when they also, no one accept them. I mean, and the politicians also not, the restaurant also not, because in Hungary, we had a time when the restaurant musicians were really famous. But then the other hand, I must say that our musician Roma are really famous because of the how they say in English. And thinking about is a really special style in the Hungarian authentic music. We say csárdas, and when the Roma started to be being in the band, they were using this famous style. And nowadays, the musician community also changed because they already not living with just from this job. So this is them for like an employment as a musician. It's like a second or third job in their life, not the first. The classical musician has also the second job also. So they also lost some priority of their lives, but I can say that we have a lot of famous musicians in the whole world. The other question was the Ambedkar school, because we have this school in another county, and they had students from the really poor villages in Borsod, is the county in Hungary, and there is a lot of Roma who are living in poverty and without any kind of helping from the government. I know that it's said what I'm saying, but if I would say the another things, I would lie. Because they have help from the government, with political helping, but it's not enough. It's not enough for the good quality of life. So in the Amber card, they have a lot of poor, it's not kids, they already use secondary school students. And here in Hungary, they are also famous and they are so successful.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else with any comments or any questions, please?
May I? I'm Chandrasekhar Bhatt from Hyderabad. Could I ask a small question, please? A brief question? And yeah.
Yes, please.
And
yeah, Mr. Bhatt, please.
Andrea, it has been very, very interesting and very holistic presentation covering almost all aspects of Romani life. Thank you very much. It's a really, very eye-opening and thought-provoking. Now, one or two points which I thought I must mention is the Romani could say they're Romanis, or they can also say they're not Romanis, right? They can accept the identity, and also they say they can reject their identity, right? Now, the context is it because of the political situation that exists there that they sometimes are inclined to say they are Romanis, and sometimes it's not advantageous to say they are Romanis. So therefore, they will say they are not. So this is one observation I have. And the other thing is, they have been there for longer than a century in Portugal, in your country. And are they integrated into the social, economic, and political format of the society? In the sense, how much do they participate in political activities there? Are there active politicians there among the Romanis? That is one. The other, socially, is whether they have relationships in terms of, say, marriage relationship with the communities other than the Romanis. They go beyond. Are they discriminated in any of these kind of social relationships to get into the bond of marriage and so on? So these are the two observations I have. Thank you very much. That's been very interesting again to say. Thank you.
Okay, I try to give you my best answer.
Yeah.
In this, okay, I will start the easiest, is the marriage. Now you can marry everyone what you want. So we don't need to thinking that we cannot marriage with non-Roma, or we just going to marriage with Roma. Of course, it's from the society, the main society. But if we are thinking in a with the Roma brain, I need to say that I need to keep the tradition, because I never had from my father that I need to go to marriage to Roma men or men who came from Roma family. I never heard the same. But I know a lot of girl or boy who can say that it's a traditional. You need to go to marriage in a Roma family, and they cannot choose that they want or not. The family said they must. But from the big society, they don't have this kind of imagination for us. So it's not regulation already. Nobody says that we need to do this kind of things, to thinking about where we're going to marriage. So here is the cultural challenge and conflict also. I mean, conflicts for me, because my family don't want to, my closer family don't want to say that I need to go to Roma family, I mean to marriage. But my relates, I mean, my father sisters or my father brothers, they say that, Andrea, what do you think? What you want from Gaje? So it's already, we have a culture conflict, because I say that, okay, I don't want to go to marriage. This is the first problem when they want to die, because they hearing this. Because in our culture, we need to go in Hungary. Okay, that was the easiest question. The another question is a political integration, that how many Roma are active in a political level. So this is the question when I must to take myself, I mean, I must to take my own thinking out of myself, and I must to be in a professional as a teacher and a civil activist. So in this generation, I mean the third and the second generation are really active. The second generation, it's around, if I say the age of the second generation, it's like around 50 years old. The third generation in the Roma activist, we can say, like collective, they are activists. So the third, it's around, it's between 30 and 40, or a bit less than 30. And we have a fourth generation who are around 20 years old, who already in the universities, but they also interesting about the political. So the back to the third and the second generation, they already really active. I don't know what is the exactly number, but it's really special in Hungary that we have minorities governments. I mean, in Hungary lives 15 official minorities, and who are officially minority, they have a government for the minority, and they can keep their heritage, they can keep their language, they can making a lot of cultural programs, they can make a lot of program, but it's connecting to integration and etc. And we have more than 1,100 1500, ugye? So we have more 1,100 Roma minority government here in Hungary. So we can say that we are really active in a political level. But in the main...
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, okay. But in the main political level, I mean in the parliament, in the ministry, they don't working so much. We don't know the exact number because in Hungary we have a rule that we don't go to registration process about that who is Roma and who is not. But we know who are, so we know who is the Roma, because usually we know, but they really few. It's not more than 10-nél vannak többen a parlamentben. Aha. Ugye? Okay, so my boyfriend
thank you.
that
Yeah, thank you.
only one. But I think 3.
Yes, Ms. Duka, I have one question for you. What is your take on the government asserts and claims that the employment rate among Roma people is faster than any other Hungarian social groups, though but the statistics says, that the official statistics says that the 49% of Roma people are unemployed, and the non-official indicates more than 70 and 68% of Roma people are unemployed in Hungary. And the second observation about the integration policy, as you talked about the integration policy very eloquently. So as the Open Society Foundation describes, the integration process in Hungary is like a roller coaster. So that is the integration, because all the human index indicators, all the important indicators show and depict that even in housing, education, employment, and medical, the healthcare. So the Roma are at the lowest ebb. Roma are, Roma are at the lowest and the most marginalized Hungarian social group. So what is your take on these two, my humble submissions?
I didn't understood exactly because sometimes the connection was lost a bit.
Okay,
and sometimes I heard just some words.
Okay. Actually, my first question about your take. What is your the opinion on the integration policy that the government says that the employment rate is going up, and the faster than other Hungarian social groups. So, but the statistics data says otherwise. Data says otherwise, and so that was my first question. And
okay, then it's better to answer now. The statistic. So my own.
मेरा चार्जर है, पानी की बोतल भर दे और आधा कप चाय दे दे, क्या कॉफी दे दे, मैं सोऊंगा.
Okay.
इधर चार्जर ला दे.
ओहो.
ये ले जा.
Can I answer?
Yeah, sorry. Mukesh sir, please mute your audio.
Is it okay to ask a question?
मुकेश जी अपना ऑडियो आप म्यूट कर देंगे?
Okay, then I continue.
Okay, Andrea, you can go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So, what you said before, for me, it's a really.
Yeah, Andrea, please continue.
So it's a bit ironic because the statistics, so it's new for me that the statistics say that everything is growth. No, it's not true. It's really not true. Maybe in another country, yes, but here in Hungary, not. You know, some years ago, I don't know exactly, like 3 or 4 years ago, around maybe 5, but not more than. The government said that in Hungary, almost 5 million people are living in under the poverty level. So it means that in Hungary, from less than 10 million people, half of the number, like 5 million people, are living in poverty. How they can say, or how somebody can say that something is growing? Not. In these days, in the last few years, a lot of people are lost their job. And doesn't matter that they were Hungarian, German, or some another kind of nationalities in Hungary. Especially in the pandemic, in the pandemic time. So the integration policy in Hungary, of course, they want to grow in the numbers. It would be really nice if the Roma lives also be better. But at the moment, I cannot imagine that it will be better as soon.
Yeah, Mr. Ohran, you had a question? Mr. Ohran?
Yes, I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
I just saw you that you wanted to ask some question or comments.
Yeah, I find very important this topic, and that's why I'm sitting outside next to a train station here in Netherlands. Finding so important to talk about the Roma in Hungary, I have some comments. The Hungary was one of the main issues and topics of the European, or even I can say world Roma issues. Why? Hungary always has, Roma in Hungary always had play a role, very important role on the Roma movement in history of how to show our culture. What is the participation of Roma in Hungarian society during communist time? But I will go much more earlier. Hungarian Roma has been suffered for a very long time in the history of Hungary itself. I do remember data and stories from history, how Maria Theresia was forcibly adapting Romani children to the families, as Ms. Duca said. This type of mechanism we have to not only to historize in a sense, but we have to see as a mechanism of uh, of the European kings, queens, leaders, or whatever, to see how they see to us, to our community, to our development. Similar issue, what Maria Theresia has been doing in Hungary with Roma. The similar issue was in 1970s as well, with a very special Swiss-based organization, so-called Pro Juventutem. Pro Juventutem, supported by the government of Switzerland, has been forcibly taken and adapting our children to the Swiss families. We have no idea today where those children are, where the generation after these children has been brought up, and so on. And I have really no doubts. I don't have doubts, but I'm looking for to find a term how we can talk about and say that this type of thing that's happened in Hungary, that time when Maria Theresia was, so a few hundred years, and as well today. Today, neo-fascistic group, neo-fascistic party Jobbik, simply is extremely anti-Roma ideology and so on. And Jobbik is the party who support those neo-fascists who are going to Hungarian villages and kill our people. You remember the case of the killed father and son who was just 5 years. You do remember how those neo-fascists are going around of the Roma villages and threatening and killing people. Hungarian government today, and from the time actually, from the time that Viktor Orban is the head of the state of the Republic of Hungary, the situation of Roma is deteriorating. and the situation of Roma is not good at all on political level or however. As Maria Duca said, there is a very special political format. I can say kind of a political baby that in Hungary was born, and this is so-called Romani self-government. And from my very personal point of view, this type of self-government is actually to manipulate the system, to manipulate the communities in a sense to get a political power, but that did never happen. We have been very much happy in this context. I like that Maria Duque is smiling on me because we do think the same. We were very happy when last European elections was, and from those European elections, we've been somehow very over optimistic to get Livia Jaroka in highest ever position of a Rom that has got in European political space or sphere. You know Livia Jaroka, who is today still Vice President of European Parliament. And please, again, my very personal opinion. I have to say personal opinion because this is what I'm thinking, and I have to take care when I speak in public that Orhan is speaking. And I do believe that my way of explanations could influence for a better relationship. I was one of very strong supporters that Bolivia should be a vice president of European Parliament. But when I see what European Parliament and Livia Jaroka does, I'm ashamed that I was so optimistic. I don't like that. And again, coming back through, the Hungarian Roma has been those Roma highly important who brought the values of Romani culture, values of Romahood to Europe. Hungarian Roma, as Meir Lakatos, as many of you there in Hungary, has been making possible to show the reality that we are not orphans of Europe, that we have our origin, that we have our Indian connection. Those historians in Hungary itself, Roma historians, has been played an enormous role to crystallize, to make a very good view who we are. And that is actually a main, I believe, a field of fight, who we are and our contribution to our countries where we are living. And in the end, Hungary has monumental figures. Please, Maria Duca, you can remind me, please, who was that? The famous painter in Hungary, world famous painter in Hungary.
Pili.
Who, excuse me?
Pili Tamás.
Peli Tomasz, exactly. Peli Tomasz here in Holland, whose paintings was shown as a famous world painter. And he was very much appreciated by our queen and king as well. Today we have, instead of Peli Tomasz, we have Lita Cabelut, who is from Spain, and he has today looked like a role of a Van Gogh, who was on his time. Today we have Lita Cabelut as Gitana, as Romani here in Holland. I won't really when we have these type of Zoom conferences, I would love very much Zamir and all the team, Shampar and Sajdeva and all of you. We have really to find, kind of a multi-speakers to say the reality, to show much more deeper, to have a conversation. One Zoom conference about Hungary is not enough, or about any country. I'm very happy that we have reached the level of dialogue that we can talk about us, that we can talk about our origin, that we can have support from India to show to Europeans our contribution. And our contribution is not done just, like that. Our contribution is a revolutionary contribution to Europe. As my sister Purita said, what about the music? You might imagine a special chardash, as was mentioned by Duka, this type of music or any other type that Roma from Hungary played. You know, the kings could not survive without those musicians. Let me say to you this, who were highly appreciated, but later not. And the communist system, regime, and other, say, ideologies who were damaging our culture, especially Hungarian musicians, very famous musicians. You know, for example, just a few weeks ago, I've been in Budapest, and again, I have got such feelings because thanks to Robbie Lakatos, who showed the world in the center of Hungary, he showed that he is a Rom from Hungary who shows Hungarian Romani jazz or however music that is a part of the cultural heritage we have brought to Europe. Thank you very much, all of you, for this attention. And I believe that
Thank you.
My proposal is let's have, for example, imagine we have next to Miss Duka, we would have some few others, like 2, 3 others, with specific knowledge on anthropology, on politics, and so on. You know, there are in politics other young people or a bit older, but we would need to hear them. We would need them to appear, and this is our richness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oran, for your suggestions. We have taken note of it, and we'll see what we can do in that. And Ms. Duka, do you like to have any comment on Mr. Oran's observation?
It was really interesting, and I like to talking with Orhan. So it was. I'm happy to listening him, and his comments are. I can say that I agree what he said, because I mean, for the last few sentences was that I also think that we really need to say the real about the Roma people, about the Roma community. I mean, at the moment, especially.
बहुत बचे हमें ये लगा कहीं गुरु हार हार न जाए जय कहीं तुम्हारे
Mr. Tandon, I request you to mute your yeah, please. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Duka.
Thank you. So I just wanted to make agree the sentence, but we just need to talk about the reality, and how is it so sad, our reality. We really need to talk about this, and not about the different kind of studies, but it's written about us without us. So yeah, I just wanted to say this.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else with any comments? Because we are about to, we have just 5 more minutes to close the meeting. If anyone wishes to say anything.
Yes, Mr. Rasha, yeah, like to speak to me. Mr. Rayar?
Yes, please. Yes, Mr. Joran.
Okay, thank you very much,
Mr.
everybody.
Joran, please.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and hello.
Yes, Joran.
Okay, and thanks, Anna Maria. I explain this, but I know, but what I like talk to Orhan, and very impressive, and my very big brother. I like to give more time to discussions, but only situations. but no, but Hungary, but only to European Union and Balkan. And I talked to Anna, but situations who is very supported, very no good for us, for only to Roma and Hungary. And because and the European must talk to him because and here the president who is social nationalist party to Orban, and I know, but here the situations and how to do it. But must understand, but only I look at two situations to politics and situations to Roma, because in the situations to politics I know, but how to look at Roma, so definitive and the situations, but situations to Roma, how look at Rome to Rome, and here the big problem, because and here to Hungary and the more and the religions, something to pastors and evangelists, Catholic, Christian, I don't know, who is separate to only to local majority, and Grisar and something to lawyer, something to legal, who is like to give to Roma, who is guilty, no guilty, and here to more conversations for politics. Here to must understand how to and the more pastor and the more to Chris and Christar go to here to situations to Roma. Must stay to here, must look at how to talk to him, because and the more negative look at for Roma, indirect to putting here to informations and the educations, who is no for us good to Hungary, because more people don't understand to religions and something else different to look at here. More time I go to Hungary, maybe to 15 times, maybe to 20 times, I don't know. But I look at to only to Hungary cities, citizens and Roma who is understand or understand. Mr. Dabas, do you like to close your microphone because you here to talk? I'm talking now. Please, and Mr. Dabas. Okay, thank you very much. And now I'd like to talk to finally, because in the ERU, and prepare to more different to situations and look at to how to talk to European Parliament and European to commissions, because now and the two and the board meetings and racism, who is in the Commissar Dali and here to boarding, who is in the prepare something to change, and the adjusting commissions, who is here to look at how to prepare to new strategy for discriminations, racism, and tessera als to who is negative for Roma. Language, who is speak now. I prepare to more because I'm media man and the filmmaker, and who is prepared to more educations program, who is I give you to Andrea, Anna Marie. I give you to more information for me and for my website and my educations program, who is in the and maybe to look at here to program everybody who is I give to free, how to link language to Roma and how to standardizations to language. And here to no problem to open my program to everybody. And maybe to change something to social media, how to help to Roma people, but no some the Hungary only. The more time I speak to Punita and the Christo and the Orhan, the more time must prepare something to new program who is must putting to social enterprise and the social media something how to help to only to country to talk to Roma language. And me and the Zamar and the Sashi and together to prepare to memorandum understanding to for United Nations, because and the IRU and the ECOSOS number and here to social economics organizations, who is prepared to something to how to UNICEF and the UNESCO and the ALS give us something to change for educations and the change give to program who is must understand to language and Roma, and must prepare to something to university, small university for Roma language. I believe to help us to United Nations because I last time to speak to to office in the United Nations, which give us information what to doing. But problem now and everybody, the corona in the state to more people and give to something to help to open to doors and the windows for Roma because of the problem to Afghanistan, problem to Syria, problem to migrations. 5 years to question to Roma people to European Balkan, stay. You must understand everybody. Stay. No go to up something because in the European look at to problem to migrations, problem to Afghanistan, Syria, and etc. etc. October, European Union prepare to give to strategy, new strategy, and the 7 point who is in the look at and give us, but must I think, but here to 8 point. 8 point for Roma and Roma, because must 8 put for self. What to doing? What to doing to Rome? How to communications? Andrea talk to Maverick and speak to Janes Romanes. You do not to Roma speak. I don't know because my family blah blah blah. And here in the big problem. Why not talk to family? Because here and something to difference. Future must talk family to Roma language. Never mind, but Lovari, Caldera, Jamba, Sarli, and else who is the language to dialogue. No, but must talk. Small difference to only to language. My point today, my brother, my sister, my only two friend, Iru open two doors to everybody. And I like to tell everybody, but come on, to do something to change, not to listen. Something finally to conference who is Zamar and Anna prepared today and Rayesh. No, must open to tomorrow, must open to door, must look at to what and talk to Facebook, talk to social to media and the email, what to do together. No stop, must do it, must help to Andrea. I am first who is like to help you, Andrea. I talk to more time and you member to Iru, to Hungary. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm sorry because I talk too more.
Oh, thank you very much, Joran, for your observation. So now, Andrea, do you have anything to would you like to respond to his observation or say something before we close?
I just would like to say only one sentence that I don't need to talk. I just, Zoran, I'm happy that you are also here, and it was so surprised me that you are also here beside Orhan. But we also need to learn how we can accept each other. So if my family doesn't speak Romanes because of the history and no one speak Romanes, of course, I will not speak in Romanes. And if I accept that any kind of other group can speak Romanes, why they cannot accept me? You see, this is what the non-Roma are doing with us, and now we are doing between each other, and we are also Roma. You are also Roma, I also Roma.
Andrea, I know that but Andrea, I'm sorry. But you and me go to Brussels and the meeting to conference. First time to look at you and me together to speak.
This is why I know that you are not wanted to make me a bad things, but this is just the practical that we need to accept each other.
But
Yes.
I tell you,
I learn Romanes in the university, but I cannot practice. So this is why I'm not using. But it's
I
not
think
problem.
but my dialogue will like tell you something because Janes to Romanes te
I
vorbinesc.
think we'll leave at that. We'll leave at that uh,
Sorry. I like
because
to
we are already running out of time. And
okay.
yeah, so let's leave at that. So now I take this opportunity to thank everyone for participation, and special thanks to Andrea Anna Maria Duca for a very interesting presentation. We learned a lot about Hungary, and yes, the challenges which the community faces there, and yes, what has been done or what has not been done. And then it was a interesting question answer session where we talked about music in Hungary. We talked about the integration issues in Hungary. And I'm happy that Ms. Duca, you could respond to the satisfaction of the questioners. And it was very interesting. And we hope that we will continue to see you in our future programs also, because we do continue with this every month. And we also have webinars in between on topics of topical interest. And we do circulate a fortnightly newsletter covering different aspects of Romas, which are contemporary, which could be issues of relevance. So we believe that with this type of webinars, we'll create more awareness about Roma among the Indian public, as well as get to know more about Romas in different countries and their issues. So with this, I would like to thank everyone for staying that long. And as Jamir said that we apologize for the postponement which we had to do last week. So we welcome you to our future events, and thank you very much, and bye-bye. Good night.
Thank you for your invitation. And I was happy to talking with you and to see you. Ciao.
Bye, everyone. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Viszontlátásra.